Howdy y'all, and welcome back to another Longhorn tactical flashlight comparison. My name is Josh, and today I want to take a look at both the P23i from Nitecore and the Olight Warrior X4. Both of these are going to be kind of a hybrid beam-shaped tactical light that advertise a pretty long throw. And so which one should you buy? Stick around, subscribe, and let's find out. And now let's start off with the build quality of both of these lights. First off, just looking at the tail switch, I think I'm gonna like the UI of the P23i a little bit better, as you can turn it on and then switch the modes using the mode pedal, and it's going to be pretty straightforward. However, with the Warrior X4, there's going to be a single button tail switch. However, it is two-stage, and so if I were to full press it, and then half press it, they have different outputs. However, the thing is, there's going to be two modes, both daily mode and tactical mode. And I have it here in daily mode where it's either high or low. And then the other mode is going to be strobe and medium. And so the thing is, it's kind of hard to get to those because in order to get to those, you have to turn it on, completely unscrew the tail cap, screw it back on, and then you have access to the medium and the strobe. And so in all honesty, I find this a little bit more intuitive. However, one might find this UI a little bit more tactical, as it's going to be straightforward and you always know what brightness you're gonna get. And then in terms of accessories for both of these lights, the P23i is going to be coming with this pocket clip that you see here. However, in my opinion, I think that I'm gonna like the silicone tactical ring that comes with the Warrior X4. Both of these lights are also going to be USB-C rechargeable. You can see here for the P23i, there's going to be this rubber boot that hides the USB-C port. However, I'm gonna like the system that the Warrior X4 has a little bit more, as it's going to be this full metal sheath, which as you untwist it, then reveals the USB-C port there. And I like this system a little bit better because the rubber boot always has a chance to rip or get brittle over time, whereas this metal sheath is not going anywhere and it's going to fully protect that USB-C port. And while we have this down, I want to show y'all the tricolor battery indicator right here, which is going to start green, go to orange, and then end on red to show y'all the battery level. And while this is going to be on the entire time that the light is on, it's usually going to be hidden underneath the sheath, which makes sense for a tactical light because you don't want any other lights giving up your position or to give up your battery indication to other people. However, as for me, I would like to see the level of my battery without having to twist down the sheath and then turn it on, find the battery indicator, and then look. But again, it makes sense for the most part. The P23i is also going to have a battery indicator, only except it's going to be a single color battery indicator, which is going to flash rapidly whenever you're getting low on power. And while it does have the upside of me being able to see it, it has a lot of downsides in terms of it not having the intuitive tri-color, and it's going to be visible the entire time that the light is on. So it's pretty easy if I'm shining it this way, somebody can see that light, which is going to be not my favorite for a tactical situation, but it's also nice that I get to see it the full time as well. And then looking at the emitters of both of these lights, they both look like a luminous SFT70 LED. However, for the Warrior X4, Olight hasn't come forward to say what emitter that actually is, but it looks the same. And then just in terms of which strike bezel I like more, I think I'm gonna have to side with the P23i, as it's going to be made as stainless steel. It's gonna have those silicon nitride inlays, which are going to help with breaking glass so much more. However, that's not to say that the Warrior X4 isn't going to have a good strike bezel either. And then giving you all a close-up look at the finish and the knurling of the P23i is going to be pretty standard with that HA3 hard anodized finish. Now, looking at the Warrior X4, I love this finish so much more. It's going to have almost this soft powder coating to it that's going to have this matte finish that reflects light a lot less, making it more tactical, which is going to be how it's advertised. The coating also hides oils and sweat from your hands, and so this light just constantly looks good. I really like the finish on it. Both of these lights are going to be powered by a 21700 sized 5000 milliamp hour battery. And while it's not my favorite that they're both proprietary, I do like the Olight a little bit more because even though it's proprietary, you can use it in pretty much every Olight that takes this style of battery. Whereas if you look at the Nitecore one, this is going to be their I series battery. And so it can only be used in Nitecore I series lights whereas this one can be used with any Olight that fits the 21700 size battery. And so it's not my favorite. They're proprietary, but the Olight is going to be slightly less proprietary than the P23i. All right, and now let's take a look at the specs of both of these lights, which I have on screen now. I have mixed thoughts about kind of comparing these specs because I like the spacing better on the Warrior, especially as it's hard to get lost in the operation. Whereas it's pretty easy to lose track of what brightness setting you're on for the P23i, as there's going to be 5 brightness settings. And while it's not the easiest mode to get to, the P23i is going to have a ultra low mode, which a lot of people look for in their flashlights. And if you were to look at the high output for the P23i versus the medium output of the Warrior X4, the P23i is going to be slightly brighter for slightly longer. However, for the most part, these specs are going to be very similar, so I wouldn't let that sway your opinion too much. And putting up the max candela and throw of both of these lights, the Warrior X4 is going to have much more throwing distance at right around 700 yards and much more candela. The P23i is going to have 3 indents in its beam shape. And while I do think it looks pretty cool functionally, it's going to be acting as 3 small blind spots. And that's why I think the Warrior X4 is going to have a much better beam shape. Both of these lights are going to have a strobe coming in at their maximum output respectively, and so that's going to be very nice. And then in terms of other specs, they're both going to be around the same length. However, the X4 is going to be around twice as heavy, and both of them are going to be fully waterproof and 2-meter impact resistant. And now, as for my final thoughts, if I had to summarize this comparison really quick in my own words, the P23i is just going to be more casual. As it's going to be less expensive, the UI is more geared towards everyday carry as it's going to have a lot of modes, it's going to have a shiny finish, a constant indicator light, and it's not to say that it's not tactical, but the Warrior X4 is going to basically have the same specs with a more tactical approach. The light is going to be hidden, the matte finish doesn't reflect light as much, and it's going to have multiple ways to charge for whatever situation you're going to find yourself in. The tactical ring is perfectly integrated into the light, so that way you can hold it alongside a Nerf gun, and the UI is going to be very simple, which sometimes hurts it if you want to go between your tactical and your daily modes. However, this just isn't designed to be going between those modes. It's a tactical light through and through. So while I do consider the Warrior X4 a better dedicated tactical light, I do want to say that if you're looking for something a little bit more casual and affordable, you should check out the P23i. It has more or less the same specs, but it's going to be coming in a more everyday carry friendly version with some nice kind of tactical gimmicks on it, like the glass breakers. However, that's just going to be my thoughts and comparison on these two lights. If you have anything to contribute to this conversation or any questions, please make sure to comment them down below. I'd love to hear them. I really hope that y'all enjoyed watching these two lights go head to head. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing, and we will see you in the next one.